Mulholland Drive, directed and written by David Lynch, was released in 2001. The film follows Betty Elms, played by Naomi Watts, an aspiring actress arriving in Los Angeles. She meets Rita, played by Laura Herring, an amnesiac who shows up in her apartment. Betty and Rita work together to learn more about Rita's identity, all while Betty auditions for a part in a film. However, at the end of the film, it is revealed that Betty isn't just Betty, but is actually Diane Selwyn, who never made it in the acting business. In this new reality, Rita isn't only Rita, but also a successful actress named Camilla Rhodes, who is engaged to director Adam Kesher, who's played by Justin Theroux. The stress of Diane's loneliness and failure eventually becomes too much for her, and she commits suicide. Inland Empire, also directed and written by David Lynch, was released in 2006. The film stars Laura Dern as Nikki Grace, an actress who stars in On High and Blue Tomorrows, a Polish film that is supposedly cursed. In On High and Blue Tomorrows, Nikki plays Sue. However, the line between Nikki and Sue blurs as Inland Empire goes deeper and deeper into darkness. At the end of the film, Nikki, revealed to be playing Sue, is stabbed with a screwdriver and seems to die. However, it's not clear if Nikki's death really happens. She takes much longer to get up from the ground than the other actors do. In The Post-Perspectival, Screens in Time and David Lynch's Inland Empire, Jerslev writes, as in many other Lynch films, the construction of worlds to enter and suspension of hierarchy and perspective are accompanied by uneasiness and an uncanny sense of lost control. In both Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire, Lynch uses the entering of worlds and the suspension of hierarchy and perspective in order to recontextualize narratives and unease the audience. In Mulholland Drive, there are two clear worlds here: the bright, optimistic reality where Betty falls in love with Rita, and the dark, depressing reality where Diane Selwyn ends her life. In Inland Empire, the state of reality our protagonist inhabits is much less clear. The world of Inland Empire and On High and Blue Tomorrows, the film within Inland Empire, intermingle more and more over the course of the film. The difference between these two films is how these worlds are entered and presented. In Mulholland Drive, the bright and sunny Betty reality is what we're given for most of the film. This reality's hierarchy is clear. Betty and Rita fall in love, Betty becomes a successful actress, and everything seems to be going pretty well. However, towards the end of the film, after we go inside the blue box, we enter a new reality. In this reality, Diane Selwyn is a washed-up and failed actress who can only fantasize about Camilla Rhodes as a lover. This sudden shift of reality and hierarchy recontextualizes the entire film. In my interpretation, Diane Selwyn dreams Betty and Rita in her final moments before death. Mulholland Drive's shift between worlds creates uneasiness and a sense of lost control as we learn what seems to be the truth behind Betty's love story in the City of Dreams. In Inland Empire, there are two hierarchies to begin with: that of the actors and that of the characters. The film starts with Nikki being married to a Polish man named Piotrek, played by Peter J. Lucas. While filming On High and Blue Tomorrows, Nikki and Devon start an affair, just like in the film. Nikki even compares their affair to the script.
Fucking this good.
At this point, Nikki, as well as the audience, is now thrust into the hierarchy and world of On High and Blue Tomorrows. In Inland Empire, we aren't always given clear distinction between Nikki's reality and On High and Blue Tomorrows. In fact, the two worlds seem to bleed together more and more over the course of the film. In my interpretation, at the end of Inland Empire, the barrier between reality and fiction is broken down and both worlds have become one. The two hierarchies have merged and reality has become fiction, and vice versa. Inland Empire and Mulholland Drive both use the shifting of worlds, hierarchies, and perspectives to provide a sense of lost control, but in very different ways. Mulholland Drive shows two worlds, implying that one of them is a dream and the other is reality. The shock of the audience waking up from the dream and experiencing the dark reality, where Diane shoots herself, creates uneasiness. Inland Empire shows two worlds, Nikki's reality and the world of On High and Blue Tomorrows merging together. The inability to tell what is real and what is fictional creates uneasiness.